side. Let's begin. Welcome everybody with my SQL Server session. My name is Dimitri Koens, and we'll be talking about, well, harnessing SQL Server with PowerShell and all the stuff that comes to that. All my troubles doing this. Some examples of what we're going to talk about: backups, performance bottlenecks, security, whatever. Quick introduction about myself. I'm a consultant since 1994. I trained since 1996. I try to do that both up until today. I'm primarily specialized in Operation Manager, and that relies very carefully, like very heavily on SQL Server. And because of Operation Manager, well, I had a lot of issues with SQL Server, optimized performance, etc. And so now, yeah, I do also stuff with SQL Server. And I work a lot with PowerShell, of course. This is, for me personally, this is a triangle. These are three products which integrate perfectly and combine. Fantastic. Okay, Jeffrey Snover talked about achievements. I think I can do that too. Certifications, which I received during my job. I must say, just like Jared, I'm also a Minesweeper champion. I did never know that you could mention something like this. Yeah, I think it's a shame it's not installed with Windows anymore, but okay. I live in the Netherlands, Alphen aan den Rijn, near Amsterdam. Is that I'm happily married. I have two small children, and well, outside of my work, I try to do something with Arduino photography, wakeboarding at Lake Zeeplaza, and I'm teaching Python to kids from the age of 10, and I must say they can also teach me a lot about, well, open-mindedness, especially. That's really fantastic. Okay, so agenda for this hour: why SQL Server with PowerShell, solutions. How are we going to do this with PowerShell? Of course, a lot of demonstrations. These are only 2 slides, so a lot of demonstrations. Some takeaways, and of course, at the end of the session, Q&A. Why use PowerShell? I must say, most of the tasks you can do with T-SQL. Data tasks, administrative tasks, whatever, security tasks, you can do that with SQL Server. PowerShell, well, that's a part of the operating system, and is better at that level. PowerShell is functioning better at the operating system level. And personally, I don't do that much with data. So in my personal experience, I rather work on these 3 levels than on those levels. In many situations, I think that the PowerShell becomes more in handy than T-SQL, the T-SQL language. Okay. It has better interaction with the operating system, I think, than SQL Server, more networking functions. We can very easily rely on Windows Remote Management, PowerShell remoting since version 2 of PowerShell, and it has the broadest integration with other applications. One very typical example is invoking Excel, for instance. Very typical. I'm not really fond of that, but yeah, it's very popular. And then we have several solutions to work with SQL Server. The Microsoft SQL PS module, which should be the recommended way to do this. It's part of SQL Server Management Studio. It's a separate download also. If you don't want to install Management Studio, you can just use the SQL PS module as a separate download from Microsoft. Part of the feature pack. And it has a lot of problems. SQL PS has a lot of problems. I will not begin with all the problems. We will see in the demo that there are some problems with SQL PS. So we should probably revert to other methods. I was almost decapitated yesterday because Chrissy Lemaire told me that there's a newer SQL PS version, and I wasn't aware of the fact that there was a newer version where a lot of things got fixed. And this newer version was, I think it's back then 19 days old, and I wasn't aware of it. And Chrissy was. Okay, thank you, Chrissy. There's also a SQL PSX from the community. A lot of people will probably still rely on it, but the last update was from 2011. So I think that speaks for itself. If you're still using SQL PSX, try to follow, and I think you will want to revert to other methods. We just started, but you're still welcome. We still have some seating. On the script center, there are a lot of nice scripts that you can use, surely the PowerShell gallery, which is not in a limited preview anymore. We can all use it right now. There are some amazing scripts being shared there. So personally, I would focus on the latter two, and maybe not even so SQL PS, and especially not SQL PS. Okay. So, some demos about administration, performance, security, data, whatever. We only have so many time. I have a lot to talk about, so we'll dive straight away in the matter. But forgive me if I cannot tell you everything. I have a selection made of demos. I think this is the, how do you say this? The low-hanging fruit. And this is what we all should know, should be aware of with the SQL Server, and implement this hopefully through PowerShell. Okay. Yeah, let me see. We can have an. I have the SQL Server Management Studio over here, so there should be a module for SQL PS installed right away. As I mentioned, you don't really need the Management Studio to do this. And there we have it, the SQL PS module on the bottom. I think we all are aware of the fact get command module, whoops, SQL PS. Tells me something like this. Looks nice. Oh, that's a little bit shorter than I thought. Let's measure this. So only 46 commandlets, and that's not that many, right? Who of you is working with Hyper-V? Who of you is working with system-centered products, especially Configuration Manager, SharePoint, Exchange Server? Okay, not that many, but all in all, we have a lot of people working with specialized modules for Microsoft products. And only 46 commandlets in the SQL PS module is not that many. And well, we have a commandlet over here, invoke SQL CMD. And with this commandlet, I can just do about anything, but mostly I don't want to use this commandlet because I'm relying on SQL queries. I really want to use PowerShell all the way and don't rely on T-SQL that much. And I think it's strange to do something like this, invoke SQL CMD, and then, well, I don't know, query, select star from person to person. Is this for everybody in the back also? Yeah. Good enough? Yeah. I think this is strange. I'm using PowerShell and I'm typing T-SQL. It's not a profession that I need to be able to invoke over here. So I don't want to go this way. I don't want to rely too much on invoke SQL CMD unless I need to. But maybe this is the reason there aren't too many commandlets. And you can do anything through that single commandlet. But what I want is proper commandlets. And there aren't too many. Let's investigate further where we can see a lot of commands dealing about availability groups, availability, disaster recovery, always on. So where name not match availability or disaster recovery, or I saw always on, like this. And that's about half of the commandlets. So one half of the commandlets is about high availability, and the other half is not. And we should work with these commandlets, which aren't too many. Let's try one. I don't know. Get SQL instance. I should give me some instance properties, I think. Get SQL instance. It's asking for the name, machine name, I don't know. This is Mia SQL. It's credentials. Adventure works. Administrator. Okay, let's see what happens. This is a basic commandlet. The operation failed on target server Mia SQL. Verify that the target server is accessible and that the SQL Server Cloud Adapter service is running. Okay. The Cloud Adapter is a download from Microsoft. You can install it on your SQL Server, and well, it's not supposed to be on my production server anyway. It's supposed to run on virtual machines that you're running in Azure. That's why it's called the Cloud Adapter. So if I want to use this commandlet, I probably use this commandlet on a virtual machine that's running in Azure, but not on my premises, on-premises virtual machines. There are a lot of other commandlets. Where's my command over here? Well, many of these commandlets require the Cloud Adapter. Get instance, get SQL Server instance. I can see commandlets like firewall rules, set authentication mode, very typical for a SQL Server. Start and stop SQL Server instance. Set SQL network configuration. These are all commandlets for the Azure virtual machine. So I can also not rely on those. And there aren't too many commandlets left right now, so we probably should revert to other methods. I don't think a SQL PS module. I just demonstrated most options are eliminated right now, most commandlets. I don't want to rely on T-SQL. That's another profession. Not many people are fluent in T-SQL and PowerShell. But I really want to rely on commandlets. Well, it's not there. It's not there. So yeah, we can just have a coffee right now and leave it over here. But there's one more solution. You can see that the prompt has changed. I'm in the SQL Server prompt, and that occurred during loading of the module. I can do this once more. Just start PowerShell and import module SQL PS. And well, this is just one of the problems. Two of the problems with the SQL PS module can take rather long to load, especially for not that many commandlets. It's complaining about the names of some import commands from the module SQL PS include unapproved verbs, and it's telling me I can turn on the verbose switch, and then over here I can inspect. Yeah, we have a decode and an encode verb, and that's not approved. Okay. That wasn't what PowerShell was meant to do like this. We have approved verbs, we should use those. and the SQL team didn't. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. But then we can see in the documentation that you should do stuff like this. Disable name checking. I don't know.
Problem solved.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with these two warnings. But it's not supposed how it should be. The SQL PS module is providing me a new provider, PowerShell provider, and we can see over here the SQL Server drive is implemented over there, and it's only an interface to SQL Server management objects. And a lot of things that I want to use on my SQL Server are implemented in SQL Server management objects, in SMO from now on. And this module is creating the SQL Server drive, so I can access SMO, but I can also go directly to SMO and just bypass SQL PS. And well, there aren't many commandlets in the module. I can bypass SQL PS and go to SMO directly, so just forget about the module. I think you want to bypass SMO. What's nice about the provider, I think we can see all these, yeah, if I get to the GUI, you can see that if I connect to a database or analysis services, integration service, reporting service, Azure Search, and we have all these different interfaces in the GUI, and this is the same thing. I can recognize my database engine over there, SQL, integration services, analysis services. So that's on the same level. I can go into my database engine over here, SQL, dir. I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. I think you already know what dir means, right? Okay. I can go into my instance, Mia SQL. Mia, I think it's for Miami. That's the location of the SQL Server. And here are my three instances. The default instance, say they default, do a dir over here. It's basically the GUI. Well, I think the GUI mimics SMO. This is not meant to mimic the GUI, of course. We're talking about PowerShell. But the GUI mimics SMO, and I'm accessing SMO right now. CD databases. Do it there. My databases. My databases. No master, no MSDB. Well, probably typical PowerShell. -4s, -4s. I get my system database, MSDB, master, whatever. Yeah, so this is all very relatable. One commandlet, which is, well, I think the most simple commandlet. Oh, sorry, I was looking for the, lost it. Get command from the module SQL PS. We spoke about these. Only so many commandlets. Maybe one commandlet over here, backup SQL database. And if we have a backup command, we have a restore command. We can just, well, this is a command which works like I expect it to do. Master database, and there it is. Very quickly, database, I know, Adventure works, 2014, sample database, just works. Okay, I would have expected maybe 500 commandlets, and just like with Hyper-V, 600 commandlets, I think it's SharePoint, to invoke my commands on SQL Server. They're not there. So, we'll get right out of here. No more GUI. Leave this. And let's go to my script file. I think we're going to do everything from this script file from now on. Yeah. Over here. Starting right over here. I'm importing the SQL PS module so I can relate to it. And there you have it. It can take some time. Cheers. We'll just wait for it. Any questions so far? Should be at least one question more. I mean,
what are the top 3 commandlets that you're missing?
Interaction with the instance, with the database, and any other command. This is my top 2. Yeah. I'm working primarily with the database instance, sorry, the databases, the instance, maybe the agent.
And what are the operations that you would want to have?
Regular administrative tasks. Investigating on properties, setting properties on the instance, on each and every database. Yeah, and we use SMO to do this. SQL Server Management Objects allows me to do this. Allows me to do this from any other language, like VB script. It's just an interface. And I think that's how that alternative module, SQL PSX, started by creating commandlets which are just wrappers for SMO methods, etc. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for this question. We're done. The module has been imported. Took about a minute or so. I don't know. There's the SQL Server drive. That's a complaint of many DBAs. It's switching to the SQL Server drive. Okay, we can just switch back like this. You should probably. Okay, where are we? Leave SQL PS. We're loading SMO over here. That's a .NET assembly I'm loading. We'll load with PowerShell name, Microsoft SQL Server SMO. Like I said, it's part of the Management Studio. It's part of SQL Server. It's you can install the Management Studio and get SMO, but you can also download it from the feature pack and install it separately. So just demonstrate this. Hey, should be over here. Okay. I have another SQL Server. And maybe the firewall is blocking me. Doesn't matter. Let's take a look to really this combination. It's only about 12 megabytes or something, and just pick any Windows machine, install these 2 programs, and you can do just about anything to any SQL Server, starting from Windows 2000. I'm sorry, SQL 2000. Any of you still running SQL 2000? Don't be ashamed. I have clients that still run SQL 2000. SQL 2005, of course. Only 1, 2? Okay, that's awesome. Okay. SQL 2016? Playing with? Okay. Okay, so 2 very generic programs from Microsoft, download from the feature pack, it's free, and you can interact with most SQL servers from now on. Okay, yeah, that firewall was blocking me. Okay. So that's a command to load SMO, the SMO DLL, and now I have a lot of extra functionality within this session. I'm not sure if this already was invoked. Okay, so I rely on the rest of the, my session on a server variable, MySQL. It's very easy to create a collection out of this. And you all know how that's done, so I'm just focusing on one server, but make a collection of this and invoke your commands for each on every server. That's not a very hard thing to do. Typical for SMO is, what's this? Port number, yeah, comma 1433, not a colon or whatever, comma 1433. So don't make a collection of your servers with a comma within the string. It's comma and then the port name for this server, and then create a collection of strings for multiple servers.
You can also pass the port separately to the SQL.
Yeah, also true. Yeah, we have a port over here you're referring to. Yeah. Okay, so I have a connection to no. I loaded the DLL, and I think I have a connection, but the connection is implemented right now. Did I execute this already? No? Thanks. Okay, now the connection is implemented. Show hands, who of you was in the previous session from Rob Subel? 5 hands, okay. He also spoke about a few options over here, a few possibilities. When you're doing this, there's no need to try and catch over here. PowerShell is just creating a variable and will connect to SMO lately, but the connection is established over here. So maybe you want to do a proper connection with the connect method on line 62, but the connection is established for me on line number 63. Well, I'm asking for a lot of properties, and it's just too many. This is a property diarrhea, I call it, and I made a selection. Name, NetBIOS name, which can be different. This is not a named instance, this is a default instance. Operating system version of SQL Server, Enterprise Edition, that's awesome. Service account, okay, very important. Collation, also very important. And whether TCP is enabled. TCP is not always enabled. I and my colleagues perform a lot of testing on the developer edition, which is basically the same as the enterprise edition. The license is different, and TCP enabled by default disabled is false. So that's an important property for, especially for development environments. Let's get some.
Interesting. How precise are those attributes regarding version and edition? So how are they reliable, or they're exactly saying what they are?
No, they're completely unreliable. I think what you mean is that SQL Server has running values and configuration values. We'll see that later on in the demo. But I can ask for properties which have been set on the instance, but they're only implemented after a restart of the service. I have to ask for running values to verify. You should do that. You should verify both values. If they're both the same, then it's very reliable.
Okay.
But this is not always the case.
Okay.
What we're talking about over here, let's do a quick, this is easier to demonstrate in the GUI. I have an instance property, I don't know, this one, and this is a typical situation of a running value versus a configured value. I can switch to server authentication, and it will implement this, but it's only active after a restart of the service. With SMO, I can inspect this very easily. We'll get back to that. Okay. So, give me other instance properties. These are more about hardware. And please be reminded that I'm connected to just the default instance, top level. Processors, of course, CPU affinity is very important to set. I have a virtual machine running on my laptop, so I only have 4 CPUs. But the case over here is, if you have a lot of CPUs, maybe you want to disable the first CPU. The operating system is always booting from the first CPU. There's no choice in that. The operating system always boots from the first CPU, and then other processes get spawned and can get on other CPUs, but the first process always run on the first CPU. So that's the best practice. If you have 16 cores or something, maybe even hyper-threading, whatever, just reserve the first CPU for your operating system. Setting values can be, well, very easy, can be challenging. I'm not going to demonstrate setting each and every value. and you would be bored. So I have a selection made of values that I'm setting, not this one. CPU affinity, maybe leave out number 0 and reserve the other CPUs for your SQL Server. Physical memory, okay, 4 gigabytes, that's enough for me, my laptop machine. Very important properties over here. On the default instance, root directory where SQL Server is installed, install data directory, the path to the master database, that's in the program file still, transactional also over there. New files get created in the program files. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. This is what happens. Your error log is in the program files. And of course, when you're creating backups with SQL Server, the destination is program files. Because that's just the best destination for your backups. Change this. Maybe most of us are aware of these variables, but what we want to do is create a collection of our SQL servers and look through them and investing on our infrastructure. Are there any SQL servers left behind? Are there any SQL servers which are still referring to the program files, the folder? Okay, anything else security-wise? Login mode is mixed. I should change that. Audit level, only failures, no successes. There are no audits defined. This has been implemented some while ago. I think it's SQL 2008. Server level audits are well, by default included with SQL Server. We have database audits, where you can very specifically audit for changes in your data, but also audit select statements, which can be quite important for some organizations to audit whether someone has viewed your data. Well, those audit specifications are only available in the database, on each and every database, and that's included with the enterprise edition of SQL Server, and that's quite expensive. On the instance level, no audits. Anything else? This is my connection. My user options, all in the default connection, default smoke connection. Well, for instance, no count, which is a popular thing to set when I'm connected to a SQL Server. If I'm changing a lot of data, I don't want to be informed by SQL Server that I have changed this many data, etc. And so that's a popular option. I can inspect on it. Okay. Well, database administration tasks. There we have the get SQL database. Let's skip on this one. I did already, right? The dir -force, dash force. It's just about the same command. I could rely on the SQL Server. Well, let's just do this. Get module. It's already loaded. CD SQL Server. Database engine. Yeah. My instance, databases, do dir over here. Databases.
You're missing the instance.
Hmm?
You're missing the CD to default.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm connecting to a instance with the name databases.
Exactly. Go on.
Okay.
By the way, just one information in case you missed it, about the SQL Developer Edition. Microsoft announced last week that they're going to give away the Developer Edition for free now.
Right.
All right, it's somewhere on MSDN.
Yeah, great. For everyone else, the Developer Edition is free.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're probably not allowed to use it in production environment, but that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah.
But you don't have to buy an enterprise upfront any longer.
Yeah, this is the new Microsoft. Back in the old days we were copying Windows 2003 CDs, and now we can just download all the software from Microsoft and test it, and learn from it, and pay for the production environment or any other environment that we want to have support for. Okay, what's going on? Nice demo.
Meanwhile, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did I get that the SQL PS module provides the provider?
A SQL Server provider, yes.
Okay, and what additionally does the SMO deliver?
No, it's the other way around. The SQL PS is delivering a proper PowerShell provider. That's it. And it implements SMO. So if I'm
I see. Okay.
if I'm accessing SMO directly, I don't have the SQL Server provider.
Okay,
That's
so I
it.
need the two files only if I'm accessing a SQL Server from a machine where no SQL Server is installed.
That's correct.
That's the thing. So I need these two files, can run the SQL PS module, and then access remotely SQL Server. Okay,
Correct.
correct.
Correct. Okay, so we have the solution default instance. Yes. Do a dir over here. Databases. Dir -force. Okay. All the databases get SQL databases, which is just one of not that many commandlets which should work. Databases get SQL databases. Okay. And then we have SMO. So, over here, I'm loading up the databases. This is now, in this demo, the first time I'm querying for a container, which is in the SMO section. I dirt to it over here, databases. Let's change directly to this one. So that's where I'm over there, but now directly to SMO. Let's see over there what's in the databases part. Might take a while, yeah. We're going to wait for this. I need the data. Lots of properties. I can work with that. I would rather have more properties than less properties, but anything but no properties. I made another selection. Name of the database. So this is the same variable. I loaded my database into the $dbs variable. And I made a selection. Active connections. Master database has 35 connections. The GUI is responsible for a large part. None of them is read-only. Multiple user access, so no maintenance on any database, no strange things over here. Page verify. You can have no page verify, checksum page verify, but you can also have old databases which are running on new hardware and on new SQL Server instances. So maybe you have a SQL 2016 instance already, and you will can expect a database to have turn page detection. And well, that's awful. Just in summary, when I'm writing to a database, one bit is set within the data page on disk, and when the SQL Server crashes during writing to the page, then the flag is set, and that can be detected that we had a crash while writing to the page. The checksum calculates the checksum over the data page and is stored with the data page. If I'm reading the data page and the checksum doesn't compute, then you have another method of inspecting whether your disk subsystem is failing on you or whatever. So torn page detection only does this, and the checksum can do a lot extra things about detecting disk corruption, whatever, antivirus products which are interfering, many more. So torn page detection can be expected on modern databases, and mostly the result of migration after migration after migration. You're taking the database with you, and the page verify is still on torn page detection, or maybe even none. So important to set it to checksum. Back in the old days, there was a best practice that doesn't apply right now. You should inspect on your CPU performance before going to checksum. Okay, this was 10 years ago. If you're not running checksum, you're doing something wrong. Delayed durability. Anyone of you already played with delayed durability? It's quite exciting. I don't think I will ever use it. But delayed durability means that we're not writing data to disk before we're telling the client that the data has been received. So normally when data arrives in SQL Server, it's it's loaded into RAM over the network connection. Then it's written to the transaction log, and then the client is informed, yeah, we got your data. And then later on, the data is invoked over the MDF file. Delayed durability means if it's allowed, that you can get the client to be informed that we received the data right after the data arrived in RAM, not on disk. I'm a huge fan of SQL, Operation Manager, and maybe this might be an option for SQL. I always thought that my Operations Manager database, it's for the people who don't know the product, it's all about monitoring your infrastructure. I always thought that my SQL database was the most important database in the world. And then my manager told me, no, it's my sales database, my human resource database, those are the most important database in the world, and your SQL database is somewhere over there. Okay, I agree. A lot of measurements from SQL appear on local agents, and the data stays there for a while before it's being written to the database. So yeah, maybe I can for typical data warehouse databases, or performance databases, whatever, those kind of products, I might want to use delayed durability. Yeah, but you want to inspect whether it's disabled on your user-generated databases, like sales, human resources. You don't want to go there. Delayed durability, brand new option. Okay. Other properties. Auto close. We're closing the database if there's no user active. Yeah, this is just a test database, so that's fine over there, but you don't want to have this on your production databases. Of course, we're not shrinking, ever. I think the only moment that we're shrinking is you're migrating data from an old SQL Server to a new SQL Server where they're sharing the same disk. So maybe I have a SQL 2008 server and I'm installing SQL 2016 on the same server. You will not do this. And you want to reuse the disk for during the migration. Okay, so should be always off. Auto shrink. Create statistics. We want to have statistics. Who's really familiar with the term statistics in SQL Server? Most people aren't. Only 2 hands. Yeah, okay, 4 hands. This is very important. Statistics. When I'm teaching SQL Server, I do this with my students, and we're now with too many to do this. But if I'm writing, well, maybe we can, writing down names of my students and myself, Hans, René, Peter, Aaron, Peter, and this is a very simple demo about statistics. When I'm looking for data, or when the SQL Server is fetching my data, the SQL Server needs to have guidance on where the data is to be expected. So, as you can see over here, we have popular first names in the first few letters of the alphabet, and then a huge gap over here, and then we have 3 first names, which are very close together within the alphabet. And this is a simple demo about statistics. So yeah, the SQL database engine needs to have information on where to get the data in the table, and statistics can help the engine a lot. So I want to have the statistics, I want to have them automatically updated, unless I'm running a product which knows a better or does a better job in handling statistics. And I only know one. I used to work with Bistal, and Bistal can handle its own statistics better than SQL Server does. I don't know how, I don't know, but I do know that these statistics need to be enabled on all my servers, all my databases, and if they're set to false, I have to figure out why are they set to false. It's probably because the application needs to. I think when you're Googling for Bistal statistics, it will tell you, leave those off. But most of the time we need these to be on. Okay, and well, yeah, simple code over here. I just iterate through the databases. If auto close, right warning, yeah, it has auto close on. There's auto shrink on. Okay, very easy thing to do. We have the collection, we have all these properties in my variable, so you figure it out. It's very simple to do. Backups. Also, underestimated. Databases, where name not equals 10 dB. Yeah, I'm not going to perform backups on my 10 dB. Give me the name of the database, the recovery model, last backup date, last differential backup date, last transactional backup date. And I can see that I backed up 2 of my databases. I think you already saw that. I made a backup of the master database at the beginning of my demo. I made a backup of the AdventureWorks database. These have been backed up. We can create different sets of backups, types of backups, regular backups, differential backups, transactional backups, but I should inspect on these values. I must make sure that all these databases gets backed up. And now I have a method of invoking SMO over a large collection of SQL servers, maybe all the SQL servers in a specific organizational unit, and iterate through them and get a listing of the backup dates. And I promise you will be surprised. I'm always surprised that when I'm with a client, large or small, I encounter databases that, well, aren't being backed up. Yeah.
When you have clustered SQL servers, the backup date will only be set on the instance that has created the backup and not on the backup instance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you always have to check which is the primary instance, which is the secondary whatever instance, and make sure that you always carry the primary instance for the backup date.
Yeah, yeah, that's a best practice. Yeah. To repeat for the rest. Long time ago, SQL was almost introduced. And I was really excited, SQL 2012, and I thought, well, that's awesome. And then I read a blog article from Brent Ozar, it was also awesome. And well, my eyes were bleeding after I read the article. Make a note of this name if you don't know it yet. Go to his website, he shares a lot of specific information. And well, this is just one of the many things that he said, okay, of course we're going to back up our databases, but you have to investigate on what node of your cluster. Yeah. So we need extra logic over here, extra logic to determine whether the backups are being run, but we have the method to inspect on both nodes, on all the nodes. Okay, simple logic over here. Whoops. Do this once more. Last backup date less than get date add days minus 30. There is no remove days. There's only an add day, so I'm subtracting 30 days. And I can see that many databases haven't been backed up in the last 30 days. This is just the regular backup. I can also verify the transactional backup. This is only for the databases which have a other recovery model than simple. If I'm using a recovery model of simple, then backing up the transaction has no use, and we're not doing that. So I'm filtering those out, and this is a shorter listing of databases that need a transactional backup, probably. Yeah. Okay. This is also devastating. All databases in the program files. This is just a test server right on my laptop, but just iterate through all your servers in your production environment. You will find servers where this is still on the C drive, databases. It's a best practice to move them all. Just move them all. Master database, model database, it's a best practice, just take it anyway. Of course, your user-generated databases, like sales and human resources, move them all from the program files. Yeah. We were previously inspecting on default properties of the instance. Now these are just properties of the instance. If I'm If I have already databases, I'm inspecting on the database properties right now. Okay, security, no encryption enabled. Containment type, very nice to use. Only one database in this case. Might be expected, yeah. Containment type is introduced in SQL 2012. Any one of you using it already? I expect more hands right now. Oh, only three hands or so. Okay. Containment type. I have SQL 2008 cluster. I have a 2-node cluster, shared storage. Here's my database. Here's my database running on the node. A user is connecting, gets access to the database on the shared storage. And now we have a failover. The instance is transferring over there. The database is on the shared storage still. A user tries to connect to the other instance and he's denied over there because his user account doesn't exist on the second node. And this is, well, I think from the very first version of SQL Server, something how this is done. And we can get rid of this. You can turn your SQL Server database, that's per database, to partial containment, and the user isn't authenticated in the instance anymore. He's authenticated by the database. So that means, and I think this afternoon Christy Lemar will talk about SQL Server migrations. She has a really amazing migration scripts, PowerShell scripts, very detailed. And she also talks about logins, getting logins from A to B. You can use those scripts to get logins from node A to node B. But you get rid of that thanks to containment. So I can recommend it. Best part about containment type is that you're authenticated by the instance. Most applications are, well, it's transparent to most applications.
Is this good also for always-on groups?